Okay, so we are live, and today we are talking about a hot topic that's been hot in social media. It's about the soft boy era. So there's a lot of content going around about guys wanting to get treated like women and them in their soft girl era. And as a woman, I find a personal fucking disdain to this topic because
I find this topic absolutely delicious.
It is.
I want to see all my guys. Don't make these girls walk over you guys anymore. I want to see you guys making these girls pay for dinner. I want you guys to make them get you a brand new pair of Jordans for summer.
No,
I
got a question.
No, that's
What
not.
if you've
That's
already
not-
been living that way for the past 20 years?
But that's not the soft boy era.
Yes.
Okay, so that's not what women... Okay, the thing about social media is that social media is a fucking lie. So in real life, like, women date men shorter than them. In real life, women, like, pay 50-50 in the relationship, you know? 100%. So, like, this whole soft boy era being about, like, men wanting you to bring... No man wants you to bring him a bouquet of flowers. Are you fucking delusional?
No, you're
he
right.
wants one. Bring him one flower. Men aren't out here
I
being
don't even want a
we
flower.
want sour
Come with
candy.
edible panties in a box.
And
like
wait
Roma.
a minute.
If you are Roma,
Fuck a
hear me out
flower.
here. Instead of flowers, why don't you bring us a rack of ribs?
Right. Okay, but the soft
I
or
still
crop,
stand
they're
on
in
my
shoes,
edible
exactly.
patties, bro.
Okay,
I'm
but
not
the
these medical
soft
patties.
the soft boy era has been so misinterpreted and misrepresented. It's disgusting. Really, what the soft boy era is about is like men placing boundaries, saying, if you're gonna slap me, I'm so sorry, but you're just as abusive as a man slapping a woman. It's about like, hey, just like privileges, responsibilities are best divided between two people, because then we can enjoy the necessities of life. We can enjoy these small moments. But women have taken that and been like, wow, men want you to pay for the dinner, and men want to be the little spoon. First of all, many men want to be the little spoon. Nobody gives a fuck. Everybody likes being the little spoon.
I just want to be hugged. That's all
But-
I'm saying.
Right?
No,
like,
but
kinda
it's
nigga
been-
get some love?
It's been misinterpreted as like men wanting flowers and dates. They're just placing boundaries, motherfucker. It's
Sounds like people wanting to get views off of bullshit.
Isn't everything misinterpreted though, right? Like the whole reason why everything went off the cuff, because it's just like, you know, like independence got misinterpreted, and like, you know, taking care of your own business got misinterpreted, and a lot of things went off the thing. So it's like a spoof.
But independence as women in this like modern age in 2024 is so different, because you will literally see broke women that'll be like, I'm not broke, I'm just dating the wrong kind of man. What are you talking about? This is like this is the era that we're in, where it's like, there's no, men are literally just setting boundaries and being like, you're going to treat me with the same respect that you demand from me. And women have turned that into some like soft boy era. And it's fucking like, I'm sorry, men don't want to be punched in the face anymore. My bad. Call them softies. Okay.
It's not that ridiculous to ask for the same energy that you're asking for. If
it's
you're
like preschool ideologies. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah. So it's like,
I believe we call that the golden rule.
Facts.
I think it's the only reason why you're seeing the glorification of it is because we're trying to highlight how ridiculous it is to the extreme, right? Like, as you're saying, no guy wants flowers to be set up and saying, hey, like, what's the value of this? And then we're coming back and saying, okay, cool. Like, you're coming with these expectations without foundation. You're kind of like demanding these things, and as a result, it's getting out of control, right? It's getting to the point where it's just like, you want equal rights. And the women who understand, they understand. They're just like, hey, you know what? There's certain things that I have to give to get back.
Mean
right?
equal responsibilities.
Exactly.
Right.
Or even interchangeable responsibilities. So like, you take care of this, I take care of that.
Right.
We all win, right? At the end of the day, everything can't be 50-50. Something you're good at.
Right,
something
there's
going to
be times where you can only give 20% and I got to give 80. Like, that's shit happens.
So it's a lack of balance.
The thing with like modern dating, from what I can tell as an outsider,
Terrible.
is just like, these girls be asking for all sorts of ridiculous ass shit. Like, you got to take them for dates. You got to then take them out. You got to take care of the kids.
I blame Fresh and
buy 'em
Fit.
shit.
I blame Fresh and Fit because these guys bring all these chicken head hoes on the show, and then these girls are looking at these things and thinking that's the way to
But
be.
they existed before Fresh and Fit.
Totally.
Yeah, but they weren't glorified like that.
Okay,
They
fine.
weren't glorified
The
like that.
thing with modern women is
But I don't
that
blame them directly. You know, music videos help too.
That's okay. They got caught up in it. Marvin's sitting there, is just like, you know,
Hip-hop did some
you
of
shot
that.
up in the
Fresh
girl,
and
now
Fit,
you're sitting there, you're
knocked
stuck for 18
someone up.
years.
Yeah, shit. Okay, but the thing
crazy.
is that I, as a woman, one thing that I see about the expectations of modern relationships is that, especially if you study, like I'm an old soul, I really love watching those old videos that they used to play to families in like the 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Shirley Temple.
Where it's some shit like that, you know, but it was like
Love
these
those.
life lessons. And one of them that stood out with me was like, you know, how to be a woman and date. And it was like the 1950s. And one thing that this girl said in this like documentary that was placed on TV spread to like all these families, because in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, what played on the TV was like these kind of like tutorials on how to be like a good little boy, how to be a good little girl, how to be a good wife, how to be a good husband. And one thing that totally struck out to me was this one video where it was like this scene and this young lady was talking about dating and the expectations. And she said, on the first date, you want it to be as least expensive as possible so that he has enough money to bring you on a second date. So the difference between now and then is that we have the same expectations for men, but as women, we have lower expectations of ourselves. We think we have to do less to get the same expectations. So the levels are very different. We see women who will say things like, I need a man who's going to like provide in the home, who's going to make all the money for the family, which is fine. A lot of men are conditioned
you know
to
what?
believe that this is what makes them men.
But you know
then learn how to cook meals, learn how to do the laundry, because a man doesn't want to go out all day.
Bye, phone.
Pardon me. He
But
doesn't want to go out all day and come back to like a disgusting household. It's 50-50. That's not fucking. And women will be like, "Oh, that's slavery."
So
and
but that's
not.
because women. My personal observation is
expectations of
women
men, less
are
of themselves.
are staying with men that they don't care for.
Well,
Women are building relationships with men
Hold on.
that
What?
that
Hold on.
they don't care about.
Hold on,
If
hold
they're
on.
giving them money.
Because
Yeah.
if a woman truly cares and loves the man that she's with, then this isn't even a conversation.
But
she's
Never.
going to do what she has to do
Right.
for her man. She
Right.
holds him down because that emotional
Absolutely.
connection's there.
Right.
But if you're just
Hold on.
in
I gotta throw in here.
in
To
real
all my-
relationships, this isn't even a conversation. You know what I mean?
To all my girls out there who are cleaning those toilets and stuff, and
You're
not
an asshole.
Yo, there's some wives out there right now who are actually putting in that grind work. We're not talking about you. You guys are A1 from day one.
Because you're holding your house down and he's holding the fine. It's a give and take.
Yeah.
Relationships
give and
are
take.
No,
There's
we're-
nothing
we're
wrong with
talking
being a
about-
housewife. There's nothing wrong with being a man that provides for the whole family.
Like-
There's something wrong with having a man that provides for the whole family and sitting on your ass and doing fucking nothing. There's something wrong with a woman who's providing for the household and a man is doing fucking nothing.
It goes
like,
back. It goes back
both
to the
ways.
component.
100%.
It goes
Yeah.
back to the component in
100%.
regards to like personal value and personal worth. And one of the biggest struggles that's happening, and we've talked about it on like behind the scenes in Canada, is when things are being projected on personal value and intake, that's always a question. So you kind of have to create these artificial components or these gates, especially these women in question, saying these are the values in which I'm being attributed to or perceived by in order for you to kind of acquire. Right? That's why it's just like these men are being put through the hurdle and being like, yeah, first date, you got to spend all this money. You have to take me to a 5-star because you're setting a precedent. Okay, right. Why? Well, if it was a question of being like, okay, these are the reasons why I feel that I'm bringing value to it, then it'd be there. But they're being, diminished in a sense because women aren't focused on...
It doesn't go both ways.
Yeah.
So even as you're saying that, I'm thinking about like, okay, so a woman, we take a man to a restaurant. We say, okay, where he takes me is going to show
Dictate,
me what kind of, how he's going to provide for me, how he's going to blah, blah, blah. Where is that for women? Do we have to go over to his house and clean his house to show that we can keep a good
That
home?
would be
Do we
radical.
have to like give a good blowjob to show that we're worth marrying?
So there's a-
No,
There's
no,
try
no.
to get
Well,
the blowjob.
but you know what?
Right,
The,
but
but,
if
but
we're
the
talking-
answer to
Clean
those
the
questions
house, I
is
would be
yes.
happy.
But
Hold
we're
on, no, hold
talking
on. The
about-
answers
and
to your
maybe it
questions
should
is
be.
yes.
If we're expecting that from
100%.
men, then maybe
Yes.
So-
let's go clean
Because
the
I've
motherfucker's
had
house.
I've
What
had
do you want?
girlfriends
Like,
that come to
fuck
my
yeah.
house and they spend the couple days. In those
Right.
couple days that they're there, I'll come home. My room is clean. My clothes are put
Right.
away.
Yeah.
My shoes are all lined up nice.
Yeah.
There's sandwiches made and shit. And I'm like, oh, thanks, babe.
As
She's
a
like, of course.
masculine woman, I
And
love doing
so-
that shit too. Because I'm like, I can
'cause,
provide
bro,
for you
and-
too in
and-
the
and
home.
as women, and these are the things. And then you come home and then she fucking rips you a blowjob that blows your fucking mind. You're like, yo, that's wifey right there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And these are things that happen
I think
naturally.
your monk mentality got you thinking
Monk.
about sex all the time because you be mentioning it.
You're
Right?
not coming home to blowjobs? Mr.
See, this
Married
is,
for
and
19
this is what
years?
that's what I'm talking about. Bro.
Hold on. Hold on. In all fairness, I am not worried about blowjobs. If I come home, everything's crisp, the house is calm, and I
That's
could
time
have
to
some
eat her
peace.
pussy. Right.
If I could, honestly, sometimes just coming home to peace,
Is good enough.
it's completely mind blowing for most guys. Because most guys come in the house
100%.
and they're
Kids are
getting
screaming,
absolutely ripped
it's-
to shreds.
Right.
And I see my friends, I didn't appreciate it at first,
Yeah.
but like going into a house and like having that peace and calmness is better than going into a house and getting a blowjob sometimes.
I think when
Yeah.
we,
Well, I mean,
we-
you don't get the
That's
blowjob
true.
without the peace and calmness.
Yeah, it's the peace of that's
Peace and calmness comes with the blowjob,
fair.
bro.
Where are you giving blowjobs where there's no
When
peace and
what
calmness?
woman is sucking
Yeah.
your dick and then
Screaming at that-
like, no one's doing
yeah,
that, bro.
nobody's doing that. Yeah.
I think
well, Mr. Married for 19 years might be able to.
I think what,
Sometimes you get the blowjob and the complaints, and it's like, suck. Oh, you didn't do the laundry.
Oh, you didn't come yet? Come on.
Yeah, and bro, and you know, I don't know. Yo, laundry's an easy thing, bro. Throw it in the washer, put it in the Tide Pods, press start. When it's done, throw
Until
it in,
you have to
in
put it
the
away.
dryer.
The easy part.
No, I never. No.
You gotta put it
I
away.
washed it, bro. You can do the rest of it yourself. I don't put away clothes.
But yeah, the expectations I think are very different, and I see a lot of memes where women are like, "Oh, men expect a woman who cooks and cleans." That
think-
sounds like slavery. That's a
think-
big one that going around. I'm like,
think-
first
You
of
know
all,
what? I expect
you
my woman
sound
to cook
white.
and clean.
Second of all, that's not. I don't think that's the definition, because I don't think, especially as women, I don't think we really focus and pay attention on the sacrifices that men make. I think we think it's, especially if you're a stay-at-home wife and it's like fish bowls. You have to look at it as the fish bowl. If one fish lives its whole life in one bowl, and then another fish lives its whole life in another bowl, you don't really know what the other bowl is like. So for women, as human beings, it's very easy to get caught up in our own reality. So if you're a stay-at-home wife, you're like, these kids are driving me crazy. I don't have a second to myself. And as women, we seem to like dog on men and be like, oh, you have it easy. You can be away from the kids. You can be this, and
think
this.
it's because-
But we don't think about the fact that he has to go and work for some jack-off giggle fuck that he doesn't give a fuck
I
about.
think it's because of the fact. I think it's
Oh
the
my
fact
God!
because-
Can you call my wife?
Yeah.
Hold on. I think it's because of the fact that the societal standards have changed primarily for women. So they have not, either they're under a disillusion or a disconnect, right?
Right.
Because for the most part, men have been following the same structure,
Absolutely.
right? Ideally, you get an education. Back in the day, it was high school. Now it's post-secondary or whatever. But at the end of the day, those were all tools that contributed to you seeking wealth in order to be able to take care of yourself and subsequently your
Men
family.
are groomed right
right?
from little to take
But
care of their family.
That's also been consistent over the years. Our mandate has not changed.
no.
When it comes to women in the modern mandate, because of the fact that society and needs have changed, where it's just like there's more women that are involved with the workforce, there's more women involved when it comes to the financial acquisition.
Right.
In a certain extent, it comes with a decision. The dynamic has shifted so much that you're exposed to a wider spectrum of
Right.
stuff. And by that aspect, instead of them identifying and saying, okay, I align with this ideology and saying, okay, this is how I operate, they're just wavering through everything. It's just
Absolutely.
like, oh, I was groomed to try and get my own money because obviously I went to school, I did all extra stuff, I
Right.
got this. And then now it's just like, okay, now a man's involved. And instead of being like, this is the life that I live in. No, it's because of the fact that you have that ideology to saying a man's going to come in there and upgrade me, not to be offensive, but get me exposed to more. That standard's still there. So they're still operating with that princess mentality, even though they have accessibility to more. So it's kind of like going and saying,
you have to give yourself more credit. You could actually upgrade a girl, because you in particular, I'm not talking about me and Jones, but you in particular, you are the ideal archetype. Thank you.
That's okay.
Of what girls are looking for. You're tall.
100%.
You know, you have
well paid,
that 6-figure job,
great benefits package.
Together.
You got a natural body.
Great benefits package.
Anybody, by the way, are you single?
I am.
He is single.
He's single.
But my whole thing is like, you're saying everything you're saying, and like you're the ideal person that a girl would be looking for, and it's like,
but he's too nice.
No, nothing wrong with being nice, because most girls want a guy who's like genuine and nice and stuff.
It's a balance, yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, women say that bullshit,
well, wait,
but if they did, he wouldn't be single.
Let me get into that for a second. But before I touch on that, I just want to say that you are absolutely right. Men have followed the same guideline for fucking hundreds of years now, whereas
thousands.
women, hundreds of thousands. Yeah. I am accepted whether I'm a whore, whether I'm a stay-at-home mother, whether I'm a fucking businesswoman, whether I live off of daddy's money. Society has been conditioned to accept me and put my standards lower. Whereas for men, if you sit there and you prosper off of daddy's money, what are you called?
A trust fund bitch.
A trust fund baby. Spoiled. A bitch. If you sit there and you say, a man can't say, my wife is putting me through post-secondary so that I can pursue my passion without him being looked at funny. But a man can say, I'm putting my wife through post-secondary so she can pursue her passion, and he'll be respected. So the expectations for women have very much... We can do it. It's like, who was it? Chris Brown that said like a woman is valued just for existing, but a man is only valued based off of what he provides.
Two things off of what you're saying. First of all, Chris Brown is up right now. He's eating Quavo. That's not.
Yo, shout out CB, man.
Yeah.
Like, yo, Bob.
But yo, on a serious note though, and it's kind of riffing off what you said, man, could you date an OnlyFans girl? Because you just said that, like, girls...
Hells yeah.
No, like, you were just saying that girls can be 304s, they can do all this other stuff and
they
whatever.
Can be doctors, they can be lawyers, they can be astronauts, Barbie girl.
Who doesn't accept me, he's just not man enough.
On a real talks, like, let's be real. Could you guys date a girl who was, like, OnlyFans out there? Like, her poems is getting exposed... And the mans them are thinking of running through it on everything. Like, could you actually,
I have a perspective.
You're single. You're like, you're out here trying to shine on the city. Could you date an OnlyFans girl? Let's be real here. Let's be honest.
At the end of the day, it depends on the personality of that girl. Because I see OnlyFans could be used as a tool. And if you're sitting here and saying, okay, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of the concept of society, it's any other business. It's just like having a good like retail business or whatever. Like Amazon's taking advantage of that. They're bringing us convenience.
Yeah.
They're bringing us stuff. If you're... I would. I've dated a stripper.
I've dated strippers too. I've dated prostitutes.
Right?
So what?
It's one of those things where it's just like, if you revere yourself and say, hey, you know what, this is a business, I'm going to protect myself. So it's just like the engagement I have with the clientele, I scrutinize the type of clientele, that kind of stuff. That was our arrangement. She wasn't just going to sit here and be like, yo, I'm just catching any dollar, because I'm just like, yo, I'm doing my thing. But she's like, most of my mans are exclusive. They're high end. They're people I can potentially network with.
My whole thing is it's like you have next man's thirsting on those girls though. It's like
man's are gonna thirst on your girl anyway. If I have a top shelf girl, they're gonna be thirsting anyways.
Exactly.
I have a unique perspective as somebody, so I never did porn because I'm not. Oh my god, because I'm not a whore, but I did do what's described as not safe for work content. So it's more classy, no boobs, no coochie, no fucking butthole. Well, there's boobs, but no coochie, no butthole, no like there's pornography, okay? So I used to do this in my early 20s. I'm going to be very honest. And I quit a long time ago, thank God. And I just came to that conclusion myself, but I also later when I started like getting back into religion, it was very reaffirming for me that this is like not what God wants me to do. That's just my perspective as a Christian woman. Don't fucking shoot me. But let me tell you, none of that stuff like ever got leaked or anything like that because of how I ran it and because it wasn't super like raunchy or super disgusting. None of that. So kudos to me.
Did guys look at you
However,
differently, like after you did it? Or?
Well, let me tell you. So I was with somebody for numerous years. And him and I, when you're in a relationship, you take videos together, you take pictures, you exchange this shit. And he released that stuff when I got famous. And this is shit that's like, everybody knows, whatever, cat's out of the bag. It's on the internet. And I fight. I have a company hired to like remove it and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is that I owned my choice to do that in a relationship. I had a right to trust my partner. But with it being leaked and with it being on the internet, I have personally seen how it's affected like my relationship now. How it feels for my partner to know that there are other people that see a side of me that only he should see. And that for me, I only want him to see that. And it wasn't my fault that that trust was broken, but it really put into perspective for me women who do OnlyFans, women who make pornography, and you are all in your right as a fully consenting adult woman to do whatever you want with your body.
Right.
But when you come later down the line, when you fall in love, when you meet somebody that you're like, I want to marry this person, when you have to look them in the eyes and see the hurt in their face, knowing that other people and other men have, on a mass scale, not just like, oh, your ex is whatever, on a larger scale, have seen a side of you that only they should see, that is like a different pain as a woman. And I think a lot of young women don't think about the type of impacts that it could have when you make this kind of content, when you do this type of shit.
It goes back to overarching
hurts.
Accountability, right? Because of the fact that, going back to my statement, you know, I would be comfortable with it, but it's how she owns it. Right? So if she's coming at me and being like, oh, I make easy money and this and that, and you'd be lucky to be with me and all that sort of stuff, I'm not about
Fuck
it.
that,
because
yeah.
you're seeing it as...
But if she comes and says, I made a mistake as a
Right.
past and this is what I had to do, but I've changed now and I'm not, you know.
I'm willing to work with her on that aspect
Absolutely.
because of the fact that it's just like we're fighting that battle together. And we know that there's going to be ramifications between the two of us as well as our children and everything else, right? Like that might come back in her professional career and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, like
and
I have a little brother. If my little brother ever came to me and was like, some kids at school were bullying me and
Right, and wholeheartedly, it's just like
throw up in my
I think the
pants.
dynamic overall, you could survey 100 men, you can survey the women who are conscious. It's just like it's one of those things where it's just like if you want the understanding and the mutuality, it's a give and a take, and it's not just what you're doing for your partner; it's also how you're engaging in a relationship. So if you're coming in with some kind of like demon component or skeletons and claws and whatnot, it's what you need to own up to, knowing that when you're going into the relationship and being conscious to it, as well as how you're going to deal with it. And I feel like if that's applied to every aspect, there would be a little bit more understanding as opposed to this fighting for territory, right? Like whether or not you're a man who's not working or a man who's high value or a woman who's sitting here and saying, I deserve these things for no reason, or if you come in with like multiple children or whatever, it's one of those things. Or even we were talking in one of our episodes in regards to our body image, being accountable on how we're not only entering a relationship but also how we're maintaining the relationship. If we were able to work with that, then these wouldn't be issues. But we're always coming back with this dynamic and being like, oh, we have to fight over these components, which are really trivial.
So I guess my question out of all of this is like, is your past defining your future when it comes to relationships? Because it's like, you know, you may have did whatever.
It does, but you own it.
If you don't heal your traumas, your past is gonna haunt your relationships.
Bro, it's just like going into a relationship with baggage. Oh, I had trauma with my ex. Okay, how do we deal with that? You're bringing that in a relationship. You can't sit there and say that it's not yours to master, whether or not it's good or bad, right? Like, how would you feel if be like, oh, like if my girl was abused in her last relationship and I come in, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and be as nurturing as possible. But then you come back and you leverage that on me in every single conversation. How's that fair to me? I'm trying to help you get through it, and you can't get past that trauma. Not saying it's easy, but you're not allowing us to work through it, right? And it's not fair to either of us. Or whether or not it's just like I had a girl who spent off all my credit cards and I'm in debt. Yeah, I'm going to be a little leery of it, but I should come in there and saying, okay, I know I have expectations, but that's also a thing to know that you're going to help me with it. If you notice a problem, then get to getting. Right? Like, you shouldn't stay in that relationship. When we started the conversation where people are sitting there and they're just falling into relationship, they're just staying in there because of the sake of it. It's just like, then you don't have your priorities
It's
straight.
companionship.
Right, exactly.
They
like,
don't want to be alone.
If you're overlooking
That's
the
what it
basics,
is.
companionship, financial support, camaraderie, or just the
Yeah,
fact
there's
that
some
having
girls
that,
out there who don't believe they could do it on their own, or even
can't.
guys. Like, there are guys out there who have always been in relationships.
Right.
And they're like, oh shit, what do I do if I'm out of one,
Codependent.
right?
like
Yeah.
I know girls who sitting here and they look at my relationship, they're like, yo, this guy's good on his own. He's independent. He's not going to want to hitch up with me because I want him to move in within like 2-3 months. And it's just like, bro, if you're not going to put in the legwork, I'd move in with a girl tomorrow if she's the right one.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to put in that legwork, then you shouldn't have any right to sit here and be like, oh, I'm forecasting, I'm front loading. Be like, bro, we're going to go on dates and the expectations are there. Okay, cool. I'm okay by myself. So,
Right.
like, convince me why this is a good idea. Like, I'm
Right.
not trying to be egocentric. It's just, that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
Like you said, I come
You
with a
gotta
job.
You got to protect your finances,
Right,
bro,
I
because
come in
common
with
law is a real thing, bro.
Right, I come in
It's
with a
a real
job. I
thing.
come in with this. I come in with money. I come in with expectation. I'm willing to put that on the table. That question where everyone's scared of, what do you bring to the table? It's literally that, right? Good or bad, I'm bringing shit to the table. What you're willing to take advantage of or benefit from, and what I need to address and what you need to address. So if you're not able to have that transaction, then what the fuck are you doing? Right? You shouldn't come in there and being like, yeah, you know what? I'm a
But
dude.
that's where the OnlyFans girls or guys, if it's a girl or guy, I don't know. But if the OnlyFans person comes into the relationship and they're like, yo, I came in with the OnlyFans, if they were making guap, they could be like, yeah, I was making guap. I was trying to ting, whatever they were doing, right?
Yo, if there's a plan and you're saving your money and you're doing things, then I support your OnlyFans. Shit, you want to do a video with me? Let's do it. Let's get
Right.
paid.
I used to be of that perspective.
Let's get
like,
paid.
if she's making her own
But-
money,
but-
how
but
can you
have a
say,
goal.
like, women are relying on men too much? by
but
making
have
their
a
own
goal.
money?
And from my experience, women who have those type of jobs
and it contingency.
really do take care of their partners. Let me tell you, they appreciate
For sure.
having a man that
Yeah.
understands
I agree.
that line of work, and they look after
And
you.
also
I
I've
contingency.
agree,
dated
Like,
girls in that
but
line of work, and
selflessly-
I got taken care of.
I agree, but when it comes to like being selfless,
yeah.
there is like nothing worse than looking a man that you love in the face and seeing the disappointment he feels, knowing that there are multiple fucking shit ton
Then
of
you're
men who are
with the
paying
wrong.
for it.
Then
Not
you're
even.
with the wrong
there-
guy.
I don't
There's-
think because I had an ex, and let me shout out to you, Tom. Fuck you, bitch. Anyways, just kidding.
Fuck you, Tom.
So I dated a guy.
Fuck
who
Tom.
Yo,
Sorry.
please delete
I
that.
was I was close with. I liked him, whatever. But I found out that this man had a body count between 40 and 60, and I'm not gonna lie, it fucking ruined it for me. I didn't sleep with him. It was awful.
This guy's
And
Machine Gun Kelly of the
I'm not gonna lie, like
Like,
some of my
spraying out the
least
club.
proudest
Yeah.
relationships on how I treated my partner was with him, because in my mind I'm no different from like fucking men out there who are like, I don't know, maybe I'm no different, but for me, if you're gonna act like a whore and you're gonna fuck 40 to 60, I'm gonna treat you like a whore. I'm not gonna respect you properly. And that was wrong.
but that's right.
And I should have left him, and that's fucked up, but like I didn't, and
But-
treated
but it-
him poorly because he's a whore.
Again,
so I
it
felt
goes
justified.
it goes back to
But
the
you
accountability
do
on
view
both
your
sides.
partner differently.
Right, it
Very
goes back to the
much so.
accountability on both sides.
And I'm a
'cause
woman.
He is there doing
you
his
see-
thing, and it's just like you should be you should be aware that there's going to be someone who either disagrees or will challenge that concept. So what are you here
Right.
to do? And on that flip side, as someone coming into a relationship, having the appropriate expectation to be like, hey, there's a possibility that that person might have a higher body count than me or have
Right,
certain
and
ideas,
it should be preference.
right?
But the thing with like social media and a lot of these OnlyFans girls is they'll say like, if you don't date a girl with a high body count, it's because you're insecure. And I'm gonna be very fucking honest
Not
with you guys.
true.
I used to feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like if you were a man insecure about a woman's body count, it was because society has conditioned you socially to compare yourself to other men. But then I dated Tom with a high ass body count, and I'm like, my
40
body
to
count's
60
sitting at
isn't
like
even that
10 or
high.
11 at 27 years old. I'm 27 years old. If my body count is just hitting double digits, what the fuck are you doing halfway through
Well,
your
Tom
double
must
digits?
have been sexy.
Tom.
You know how easy it is for a good-looking
was
guy
tall.
to get pussy?
He's tall.
No, how easy it
I
is
never
for a
slept
tall
with
guy
him.
to get
Him
pussy.
and I dated for 3 months as a teenager, and then we dated for like, I don't know, maybe like 2 months as an adult. I never slept with the man. I couldn't as a woman, knowing, because it's not just about, if your body count is that fucking high, first of all, you don't respect your own fucking self. You don't respect your own hygiene.
What if you
and
just like
maybe
pussy?
you don't respect. How can you like? I don't know.
Men
because
haven't-
it's the same as women.
men
If
haven't-
women are walking
because
around
women
with a
are
40
different,
to
though.
60 body count, but it's not. They're
Men and
socially
women are
conditioned to feel
different.
different.
Men are. It's in their DNA to want to dominate everything around
it's in
them.
the social expectation for men to have more notches in their belts, and for women, men are
I never felt
valued.
socially.
Men are valued based off of how much pussy they get, and women are valued based off of how much they can withhold their pussy.
So with that being
And that's
said,
a fucking fact.
I just gotta ask the chat and whoever's viewing this right now is like, what do you guys think of the OnlyFans thing and kind of body count? Because body count seems to be something that's spoken about quite often in like our just in general. Like
Yeah,
we
in our
talk about
society,
body
yeah.
count, as a body count, body count is like a big thing.
I'm
So
gonna
let
turn
me
this
know
off
if
right
like
now.
if that's something that's important to you, or if you can let it slide. Also, like, subscribe, and please comment and let's hear it. Aside from that, we're out of this bitch, and peace.
Good night.